Okay. Hello, I'm Munchakoopas, and this is going to be a tutorial for Hyper Light Drifter any percent speedruns. So the first thing you need to know is that you need to run this ideally on the patch from October 27th, 2016. Any patch earlier than that should work as well. Anyway, to start the speedrun, you select New Game, and then depending on what version, you may have to select difficulty here. So for regular any percent, select Standard. Then you can delete any save file. And you don't have to name the file. Time will start as soon as you select Enter on this screen, and then the opening cutscene will play. In order to skip that, on my Xbox controller, I'm going to hold down left trigger and right trigger, as well as A, B, X, and Y, and that will skip it. If you're playing on a PlayStation 4 controller, you hold down L2 and R2, as well as X, square, triangle, and circle, all at the same time. If you're playing on keyboard and mouse, I think you can just type /skip, or you can maybe just hit enter or something. I actually don't know. Anyway, if I were to actually be doing a run, time would start in 3, 2, 1, go. So I'm holding down all those buttons, the triggers A, B, X, Y, and then I heal at the start of this, which makes the drifter stand up faster. And then if you have good timing and you dash quickly enough, you can skip that cough. So throughout this prologue, you just want to get to this med kit, pick it up, it's going to be important, and then get to this elevator. And then from the elevator, dash straight to the right a bunch of times. You can just kind of mash dash and it'll get you over here. Pick up this health kit, dash once or twice, kill that guy immediately, pick up this health kit because it's right there, and just try to get to this door and through it as quickly as possible. Something I'll go back and explain. You'll see me dash through these doors as soon as the rectangle fills up. That's just holding the direction into the door and then dashing as soon as the rectangle fills. It's very easy to do. Climb the ladder, pick up the gun. You have to shoot those, obviously. A recent change on the 60 frames per second patches is that you have to kill all 3 of these enemies. Patches from roughly like August 2016 and before, you only need to kill 2 enemies. But after you kill them, come up here, activate this switch. Get to the elevator. The only other major trick in the prologue is a possible cutscene skip. What it does is it skips the cutscene here with the hallucination as well as the campfire and allows you to get into town early. So I will try to go for it right now. If you don't get it in a run, it's not really a big deal. It doesn't save a lot of time. But in order to do this, you need to be just before where the cutscene starts, which is roughly right about here. And you're going to dash into the cutscene and then immediately use a health kit and then repeat that process a couple times, which is why you need all these health kits. But you're just trying to make it to some stairs that are at the other end of this pathway. And if I don't get it, I will link to a video that explains how to do it. Okay, I almost got it, so I at least got the first part of it. But you just tried to make it into those stairs. And if you do make this trick, it gets you 2 easy upgrade tokens, which we will need 12 of. There's only one upgrade that's purchased in the regular any percent category, whether you use glitches or not, and that is the chain dash. The reason we use that one is because it obviously makes us move the fastest, and there's no real reason to get any of the other ones because they just take too much time to acquire. Anyway, if you don't skip that cutscene, obviously you end up in here. You just want to dash over to the map, pick it up, and then leave the house. Now, I'll go over what you would do in the town if you do skip the cutscene. So, well, first, if you don't skip the cutscene, you come over here, and you activate this teleport pad, and then after you get that, you dash back over to the door if you want, and then you pause the game. And what that does is it prevents the game from opening up the map, which it does after every teleport pad as well as in a few other instances. So if you want, you can either from here go down like normal and leave through the stairs down here, or you can skip the cutscene that plays by doing a door out of bounds, door clip. The way this works with this type of door is essentially as soon as you open the door, it creates an area around it where you can walk or dash through the wall. In this particular instance, you're going to take like one step inside the door and then dash to the right, and you're going to try and dash up behind these trees and then out just in between this tree and the building out there. Or you can just walk right out. This just takes a little bit of practice to get used to. And you can get stuck in bounds but out of bounds, if that makes sense. Like you'll be in a spot where the drifter can't get out of. What this skips is this little cutscene right here that I'll show off. So if you do this type of skip every time you come back to town, you can save a couple of seconds, I believe, overall. But it's not really a huge deal. Anyway, if you had managed to skip the intro cutscene there with the campfire, you would actually get one bit inside the monolith room, which is where those stairs take you at the end of the prologue. And then you'd go through a teleporter that's on the other side of these blocks here, and you end up here in town, and you get another bit that's up behind these bushes up to the top right. So then you would have two. Since I don't have that, I have to get a different two later on. One other thing is that obviously, if you start outside here, this barrier that was up earlier is still up because it doesn't go down until you activate this. So that barrier will still be there if you try and enter in through this front doorway. So instead what you have to do is something we call a transition clip. So I'll try and get it and then I'll explain how it works and go over it again. Essentially what I want to do is just hold a direction toward the transition. There, I got it. And then hold toward the transition and then mash the dash button. And this is easier to do on the 60 frames per second patches for whatever reason. Anyway, I'm on the line for the character to transition, but I'm not changing screens. You can see that I'm holding left and I'm not going to the next screen. For whatever reason, this puts the drifter in a state where he can then walk or dash out of bounds under certain circumstances. So in this case, what I want to do is wedge myself up in between this pillar here after I get back on the transition line. But you can just do that kind of by holding, let's see, what is it? It's been a while since I've had to do this trick. Okay, you hold up left and then you get into this spot. I'm going to sit down because I might be out of bounds. But you get into this spot and then you just kind of dash up right until you're in here. You can activate the teleport pad now or not, but then you just go in the house, get the map, and then leave. And then you would leave whatever way you want. So the new change in the latest version of the any % route is that you can now skip the north boss. So instead we go east to get enough upgrade tokens to get chain dash, because chain dash is required to skip the north boss. So instead of skipping the north boss, you now skip the eastern boss. Or other way around. You skip the north boss instead of skipping the eastern boss. And we will fight the east boss because he gives 3 easy bits. And we're basically trading a small skip at the end of east for a large skip at the end of north. Anyhow, proceeding this way, just go up here, ignore those guys. Don't fall. Pick up this kit if you need it. So there's a bit down here. This will be the 3rd one you pick up if you get the monolith room skip. I'll try and show off a couple extra bits that you can get for safety. So there's another one down here I'm gonna get, which normally you wouldn't. But it is there. If you want to grab that. Well, I just realized there's also, I believe... Nope, there's not one there. I thought there was. There's another health kit here, if you need it. Alright, we're approaching the first module of the game, and the first of the 4 that we need in this area. After I open the module, at a specific time I'm going to open the pause menu, which is when you see the black bars start to close in, and I'm going to close the pause menu. What that does is it prevents the game from opening the map. It will only do that with the very first module you activate in a playthrough. And that's one of the only modules we also don't do a bug called select buffering away from. So there's another bit over here you can get if you want. I will for now. I won't actually get any other or I won't get the eastern or north teleport pad. Right here there's a scripted cough, which if I knew the exact length of it, I might try to skip it by dashing over it. Right here you can save a little bit of time by dashing straight here, because you actually can make it. Okay, here we're going to see some combat, which is a good time for me to go over that. So obviously you can swing your sword and fire your gun. You can cancel any sword attack or any gunshot with a dash. You can also cancel gunshots with sword attacks like this, which is how you can deal a lot of damage very quickly. Try to get 2 shots off on this guy. Not a big deal if you don't. For this for this plant guy to spawn right here, the only requirement is that the left explodey plant down here dies, and then after you kill this one spawns. So the only explosion plant that needs to die is the one that's on the left of these two in like this general area. Now it's time for red door clip. What I'm going to do is open the door, count to 5 relatively quickly, and then when the door reforms, I'm going to walk up into it and then dash to the left, and that's going to push me out of bounds. Okay, so I'm out of bounds. It's kind of hard to tell, but you can just barely make out the drifter's sprite. I'll swing my sword. The sparks are where the drifter is, because that's his sword hitting the wall. You can do that if you ever need to find yourself out of bounds. For out of bounds, there's a few rules. 1, the game will instantly kill you after about 3 to 4 seconds. The only way to prevent that is to heal yourself, sit down, which is what I'm doing now, or take damage in some way. Also, every out of bounds section has different walls, or different floors. So right in this area, there's basically floor everywhere. I can kind of walk wherever I want to go and I won't fall, except for a few key spots. In some out-of-bounds areas, the floor is literally along the wall, and everything else is just a pit. We'll see some more of that later in the run. Anyway, I'll go over how to do this again. I'm gonna open up the door. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I missed it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just takes practice. This is the second module, obviously, and now I'm going to introduce a trick called select buffering. This trick is only possible on patches from October 27th and earlier. which is why we run on this patch. Anyway, what I'm going to do is, as soon as I start activating this module, I'm going to open up my map. And it's very important that I use the map and not the inventory menu, because the inventory can cause a crash through other methods later. So, open up the module, then open up the map, like this. And then I'm gonna, using my index finger on the back button and then my ring finger on A, I'm gonna dash down once to get to this module, or this switch. And ideally I would activate that switch while this module cutscene was playing. What select buffering allows you to do is move during the animation that plays when modules are activated. So ideally, if you just open and close the map repeatedly, the game will let you do inputs. So while this module plays, I mash the map button and dash to get down here. And then I do back and the Y button in order to activate this switch. And then I dash down here. And I do all of that as the module activates. If you don't, you get what happened, which is that really annoying sound. Next, another red door out of bounds. This one is a little more challenging. Essentially, as soon as you get out of bounds, you kind of just have to line yourself up with the blue part of the wall right here. And then you can just walk and then sit down. Or you can just kind of dash over a little ways. But you essentially want the, oops. So that's the death that happens out of bounds if you're outside for too long. Anyway, for this out of bounds, all you want to do is dash left out of bounds and then keep dashing left a couple times until the screen changes. It's just a little bit too low, or too high. Anyway, at this point, you just want to dash straight up, and make sure that you get as close to that door as possible. And you have to do that because the door that I just went behind requires a key to open. And if you don't dash into just the right spot, it will kill you. Shoot this plant, or just kill it. Come over here to get a bit. And we're in this room because it gives you a module. I like to kill those guys. Then get this. And I'm going to try and select buffer away from this. So again, I'm going to open the module and then open the map. And in this one I have to be mindful of the fire, so I'm going to listen. Then I'm going to wait and try and just dash away while the cutscene plays. I managed to not die. Been a less than stellar room for me, really. We'll grab this med kit. Now it's time for some more out of bounds. I'll show you the easiest way to do this. Go out of. These barriers will just kind of push you up, and then you just need to make sure that you either go into the wall and not over to the other side where this purple thing is. Otherwise you soft lock your game. But walk up here, go over here to the left, dash up, and then heal yourself. Or sit down right when you get around where this little light is, or this bookshelf. You kind of need to walk over to the right a little bit and hold basically just straight right. And you should land right over here on a very small patch of land, and then try to sit down and keep walking over here. Dash up and dash up right from this lower area. Try to swing my sword to show where I am. This door over here is locked, and you need to dash behind it. However, you need to dash enough behind it, and what I mean by that is if you're too close to the front of the door, there's just a death area, which will kill you instantly. So in order to transition, you actually need to be kind of above where the door is, like that. And that skips an arena and 2 locked doors. Now we get a little cutscene. Supposedly you can turn yourself around by holding down, and that ends the cutscene sooner because the dog's off screen sooner. Come over here, get another bit. Activate another cutscene. Go straight up here. Then there's another bit down here you can get. Oops. And this nice gentleman has a bit, and I died. I wasn't expecting that. Anyway. Yeah, this guy has a bit if you want it. That's one of the ones you don't have to get if you get the first two from the monolith room skip. Now comes the first frog skip, which is actually the only one we do. Here's another health kit. Come up here by these flowers, this one specifically. Come back down here. Lure one of the frogs to throw a good shuriken at you, and then you dash into it and damage boost across. I'll do that again so you can see how it's done. I like to use the bottommost frog, because he tends to throw, in my opinion, the best shuriken. So I just dash down twice, which kind of lures him into place. To do this, all you need to do is make sure you get hit by the shuriken close to the end of your dash, and then just mash the dash button after that, and you'll make it across. Get a health kit here. I like to activate this door and then come down here, because we still need a couple bits, mind you. One's here. And there's another one. That's the last one we need. Then we go fight the boss. For this boss, we're going to stand at the top left corner of the arena, roughly, just behind the boss, right about where this brown tile is, and now none of his attacks will ever hit me. So I'm just going to fire my gun and then immediately swing my sword to deal damage like this. Keep in mind that you have to you have to hit stuff with your sword in order to get ammo back. But you can just stand there and wail on him. And then you collect all three of his bits. That's all the currency we need. And here's the pillar, which is another one of the things that we need from this area in order to access the final boss. And there's one of these in every area. When you get out of the frog boss room, try and dash like up to about here, so you'll be closer to the room's exit. Activate the pillar. I like to hold left and then just mash dash. I like to dash once and then open the map, because that prevents the game from opening the map on its own. Or not open the map, but pause the game rather. Come down and get the shotgun. You can select buffer away from the shotgun if you're fast, but it doesn't really get you anything unless you're perfect at it, which I am certainly not. And then you come down here to the fourth module. So for the fourth module, you can skip the cutscene that happens after it, either by saving and quitting or by teleporting away from it. So the same way that I set up select buffers by opening the map as soon as I start activating the module, I'm going to activate the module, push back to open the map, and then hold left on my controller to teleport back to town. And if I do this quickly enough, I'll skip the cutscene and won't bug out the sound. Oops. Like so. And back to town, and we continue the run.